First Things First co-host Chris Broussard. Chris, I start with you. Do the Lakers have a Russell Westbrook problem?
No more than we thought they'd have, right? I mean, we all knew this. I remember the day that the rumor came out. I was on the show, and the three of us, if I'm not mistaken, said, no, they do not need to do this. It will not work. Now, Shannon and I are willing to give it a shot and watch it and see if it works, but this is going to be a problem. We all knew it wasn't a match made in heaven, and we just have to watch over time to see if they can figure this out. I said yesterday I put out some lineups that I think could work, and we'll see if they end up going to those. But it's going to take a long time. And yes, I said yesterday that Russell Westbrook he's like Bitcoin in sneakers. All right, he's that volatile. All right, and all of that was on display yesterday because at first he was great. When they built that 41-19 lead, he had like 5 points, I think 6 assists, or maybe it was reversed, but he was dropping dimes. They looked great, all right? And he's had moments this season where he looks like a tremendous passer. He's getting guys lobs and things like that. And then you saw it fall apart. And you see these bloopers. I mean, some of those turnovers are just incredible. So you got the 20 points, great. You got the 14 rebounds, great. You got the 13 assists, awesome. But you also got the 10 turnovers. And that is what Russell Westbrook brings you. Greatness, but volatility. And LeBron obviously looked at it and said, I can handle that. But I don't think you understand what it's like to play with Russell Westbrook until you play with Russell Westbrook. Because look, LeBron has had some, he and D-Wade weren't the perfect fit. And people compared D-Wade's fit with Russ and D-Wade, or LeBron and D-Wade worked, LeBron and Russ can work. Wade was a high percentage shooter, much higher percentage than Westbrook is. And I'm not talking about jump shots. I'm talking about shooting percentage, field goal percentage. He was a better decision maker than Russ. And obviously he was a better defender than Russ. Kyrie, yeah, he was quirky. He had an attitude at times. He wanted to be the man. But at the end of the day, he could play off the ball because he could shoot the lights out. He could finish. He could close. He and LeBron were a great fit, actually, on the court. And now Westbrook is a totally different animal. And over time, and probably even already, the Lakers are beginning to see how challenging it's going to be to fit these pieces together.
Yeah, and hopefully now they'll stop saying we want Russ to be Russ, because you saw Russ in all of his glory. Stop saying you want Russ to be Russ, because Russ being Russ will get you bounced. If you're fortunate enough to make it to the play-in or to the playoff, Russ being Russ will get you bounced like he's been getting bounced the last several years in the first round. That's what Russ being Russ will get you. And the thing is that his decision-making, he doesn't understand as the other team is getting momentum. He doesn't come down and try to run a set. Maybe Vogel doesn't even have sets, but he's not coming down trying to get a quality look. He's trying to come right back. Somebody hits a three, well, I'm going to come right back against you and get a three. Somebody gets a layup, well, I'm going to try to go through 4 and lay the ball up. I'm like, Russ, and he gets all the way under the basket. And then he's going to throw an outlet pass to DJ, who hasn't even crossed half court yet. I'm like, Russ, what the hell are you doing? I mean, when you look at the mistakes that he's making, you're like, there's no way a guy of this caliber should be making the mistakes that Russell Westbrook makes. Zero. Russ, as a professional, guys led the league in assists. But when you look at it, the volatility that, as you mentioned, that comes along with him, at this point, Chris, he is what he is. We have an 8-year. 8 years is plenty. I know some medicals, they don't use 8 years of data. We got 8 years of data that says he's finished first or second in turnovers. That's what he is. He's a high turnover guy. He's a low efficiency guy. He's a ball dominant guy. That is what he is. So if anybody tries to tell you that, oh, that's not what, yes, he is. That's what he is. Low efficiency, ball dominant, high turnover. That's what his resume is. Is he a phenomenal player? Sure. But that doesn't change the fact of what he is. And LeBron James has his work cut out for him. This will be LeBron James' most daunting task that he's undertaken in his entire life. More difficult than building the LeBron brand, more difficult than building Spring Hill, his production company.
Agreed.
Nothing.
Agreed.
What LeBron James has ever done in his life, even building up the courage to go ask Savannah, will you go out on a date for me?
Agreed.
This is his most difficult task.
Agreed.
Surviving the streets of Akron, Ohio.
Yes.
Nothing measures up to this guy.
Nothing.
I tried to warn both of you before the season started. This will not work. This is a match made in Halloween hell, is what it is. Russell Westbrook was on full display last night as the polar opposite of LeBron James. LeBron has the highest IQ in professional basketball. I still think he's the best passer in professional basketball. And Chris, as I told Shannon earlier, what blows my mind about Russell Westbrook is he's obviously a slam dunk first ballot Hall of Famer who plays point guard and has very little feel for the game of basketball. He has low basketball IQ, and his greatest strength is actually his greatest weakness. He plays so hard on offense. He plays hell-bent 1,000 miles an hour, and he becomes a solo act of a stat machine because he can get you triple-doubles every night. He can average a triple-double, and he's almost doing it again for the Lakers. He's already 18, 9, and 9. But in playing so hard, in stuffing the stat sheet with hustle points and hustle rebounds and hustle assists, he plays completely out of control and without conscience. For years, especially the last 5, 4 of which he's averaged a triple-double, he has been given the triple-double pass for throwing so many bad idea passes. You just accept it. Oh, that's just Russ being Russ. But he's a slam dunk first ballot Hall of Famer because he's doing something nobody ever dreamed that a human could do. For the last 5 years, he averaged a triple-double. Yeah, he did, and it got him what? It got him nowhere. It got Kevin Durant up out of Oklahoma City because he finally said after 9 years, I can't win a championship with him as my primary decision maker. And LeBron is going to realize that he already has, obviously. That's what's happening. And you say, well, okay, so LeBron goes back to handling the ball the most at point guard. And you do what with Russ? Where do you hide him if he's not the point guard? Help me out.
Because guess what? Because what we saw last night, Chris, is that when they kick it to him, when they swing the ball and they kick it to him, it's a clank.
It's a clank because he's now 4 of 23 from 3. A long time ago, I nicknamed him West Brick because that's who he is. He's 17% from 3. Well, that ranks 113th of 119 three-point shooters.
Who the hell worse than him? I want to know those 4 guys.
But how about free throws? So does he make it up by shooting 90% from the free throw line as a point guard? He's 47%. He's 9 of 19. That ranks 109th of 109.
Well, Skip, that goes hand in hand.
That's dead last.
Well, Skip, that goes hand in hand. Steph Curry is a great three-point shooter because he can shoot free throws.
He's a 90%.
So if you look at Russ, that 4 for 19, it matches up with his free throw percentage, which is 47%.
Okay, and my favorite basketball stat, PER, player efficiency rating. I have to rename player inefficiency rating for Russ because he's plummeted to 181st in PER or PIR. It's abominable. It's an embarrassment that Russell Westbrook went home, so to speak, back to where it all started in Oklahoma City last night, hailed the conquering hero. I'm back. Let me show you what I have now achieved. I'm now the starting point guard for my Lakers that I grew up living and dying for, and 10 turnovers happened. And by the way, we just got to show them one more time. Can we just see them in order, please, just quickly, just to drive home to the viewers who might not have digested this game last night, just how humiliating this was for the Lakers. There's one. What?
Look
Russ?
Just
okay, that's just bad idea.
Just terrible.
Look at this one.
Russ, what are you doing? Where are you going?
Jump up under the
you're
basket.
Just out of control. You have nowhere to go. I'm going to throw it to nobody. I'll throw it to nobody. And they're going to go get an easy one. I'll throw that to Wait a minute. Oh, he shouldn't have got one there, maybe. No, I don't know. Russ? It's a lob pass that misses the lobby by 5 feet behind him. What? Russ? Russ, you're going to fall out of bounds with the basketball. That won't work. Russ, this was a big moment in the game. This is when you thought they were going to take it back over.
Yeah.
Nope, sorry. Okay, so, Chris, back to you. Have you ever seen a player of this caliber be so completely out of control with the basketball? Because I have not.
No, and look, I hesitate to make this comparison because I don't think Deontay Wilder is like an all-time great heavyweight, right?
Okay.
But Russ is kind of like the Deontay Wilder of the NBA. He's got that punch, right? And he's got that gaudy record, which Russ has the triple-doubles. But at the end of the day, Wilder's got no fundamentals, right? And Russ really isn't fundamentally sound. Can't shoot, makes bad decisions with the basketball, doesn't understand time and score.
Doesn't play defense.
He's got heart, and we saw Wilder had heart against Fury.
True.
The thing is, to win a championship, you got to beat a Tyson Fury, right? Like, Wilder could beat the rest of the guys, and Russ can beat a lot of teams. But to win a championship, which Russ hasn't done, you've got to beat a Tyson Fury. You've got to beat a great fighter. And if you tell Deontay